You're looking for a projector that actually works in the places you live and work, not just a sheet of numbers on a spec page. You want something that throws a big, clear picture without turning your room into a tech lab, that stays bright enough for daytime use, and that won't empty your wallet because you spent a fortune on features you never needed. That hesitation wondering if you'll end up with a tiny image, a flickering lamp, or a device that needs a whole wall mount rig is exactly why I spent a few evenings watching setup videos, reading the Q&A sections, and comparing a handful of short throw models before I even turned the BU53PST on. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, the short throw concept is the real game changer for anyone who doesn't have a dedicated home theater room. Instead of needing a wall 10 feet away, this projector can sit just a foot or two from the screen and still fill a wall the size of a movie theater. That means you can mount it on a bookshelf, place it on a side table, or even tuck it into a ceiling recess without sacrificing image size. In a typical living room layout, I found the sweet spot at about 2.5 feet from a 100-inch matte white screen, and the image stayed sharp across the whole frame. No keystone correction gymnastics, no distorted corners, just a clean rectangle that looked like it belonged on a commercial display. Brightness is the other big concern for most buyers. A lot of projectors boast high lumens but then fall apart once sunlight or overhead LEDs creep in. The BU53PST puts out 5,000 lumens, which is enough to keep a clear picture in a bright living room with the blinds halfway down, and it still holds up in a dimly lit conference room with a few fluorescent fixtures humming overhead. When I ran a side-by-side test with a 1080p projector rated at 3,000 lumens, the BU53PST's whites stayed noticeably whiter and the colors didn't wash out, even when the ambient light level was around 150 lux. That's the kind of real-world reliability you need if you plan to use the projector for both movie nights and daytime presentations. Now, let's talk about the 4K UHD claim. The laser source does deliver a native 4K image, but the difference you'll notice really depends on how close you sit. If you're watching from a couch 10 feet away, the extra pixel density is subtle, a bit crisper text and finer detail in a nature documentary. If you're closer, say 5 feet, you'll see the full benefit, the edges of the picture stay razor sharp, and the image doesn't look pixelated on a 300-inch screen like a lower resolution unit would. The key thing to remember is that you need a decent source like a 4K streaming service or a Blu-ray player to actually feed that resolution. Plugging in a 1080p laptop will still look good, but you won't be tapping the projector's full potential. Installation is where many short-throw projectors trip people up, but the BU53PST tries to keep it simple. It includes lens shift, which lets you move the image up or down without moving the whole unit, and a 1.2x optical zoom that lets you fine-tune the width of the picture. In practice, I found I could line the projector up perfectly with my wall mount bracket, then use the lens shift to get the top of the image just a few inches below the ceiling line, all without having to tilt the unit. That flexibility is a real plus for renters or anyone who doesn't want to drill a bunch of holes. The trade-off is that the zoom range isn't huge. If you want to go beyond a 300-inch diagonal, you'll need to move the projector farther away, which defeats the short throw advantage. Who should consider this projector? If you're a home entertainment enthusiast who wants a cinema-sized picture but can't sacrifice floor space, this is a solid pick. It also shines in small to medium conference rooms where you need a large display but can't mount a massive TV on the wall. The built-in laser light source means you won't have to replace a lamp for years, which cuts down on long-term maintenance costs, a nice benefit for schools or co-working spaces that run the projector daily. On the other hand, if you're looking for a portable Pico projector for on-the-go presentations, the BU53PST is overkill. It's a 13-pound box that needs a stable surface and a power outlet, so it won't fit in a backpack. Likewise, if you plan to use it in a completely dark home theater and you're chasing the deepest blacks possible, you might prefer a DLP model with higher contrast ratios, because laser-based systems can sometimes lift shadows a touch more than a true black DLP. The practical strengths of this unit are pretty straightforward. The high brightness lets you ignore ambient light, which is a relief if you don't want to black out the room every time you watch a film. The short throw lens eliminates the need for long throw distances, making placement